Hey, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Everything Wrestling. Today, we will be focusing on Saturday night's main event. So, we all know that Saturday night main event will be back in December. So, we decided to add add this to our greatest hits list because those of us who grew up during the times of the 80s and early 90s, we know that every Saturday was like that time to be in front of the TV, posted on Channel 5, watching Saturday Night Main Event. And usually this is where the storylines either will pick up or the storylines will kind of start in terms of progressing to the pay-per-views. So with that said, sit back, relax, and let us take you down the nostalgia road of Saturday night's main event. We are kicking it off with October 5th, 1985, the flag match on Saturday night's main event. And as you can see in our picture, um, we got the Real American. And shout out to Bud Lightyear for this picture. As you can see, we got the Real American, Hulk Hogan, and we got Nikolai Volkov. So during this time, the storyline basically was Hulk Hogan, of course, the All American, Real American, and you guys know the song, was pretty much defending the U.S. So Nikolai, of course, you had Nikolai and Iron Sheik, and they were at their peak during that time. And for those who grew up during that time, you knew whenever Volkov or Nikolai was getting ready to wrestle, they always either did the Russian national anthem or they did the Iranian national anthem. So this was Hogan defending the U.S. and basically whoever won this match would get a chance to wave their flag. So this was kind of a kind of type of match, and I thought a lot of Hogan Nikolai fights were kind of they weren't the greatest because Nikolai was a hard worker, but he was a big guy, and I mean he couldn't really move that well. And I ain't gonna say that well, but like he was very limited, similar to like the Hogan and his limited arsenal. Nikolai was the same way. The only thing is Hogan had the charisma. Nikolai didn't really have charisma. He was just this big uh Russian. So it was almost like if you think back to the NWA, like the Rush, that was WWF's version of the Russian Bear. So, like I said, that match, I would give it kind of like a 6. But again, peak time, Hogan, Real American, and we know Hogan will win that match. Now it's November 2nd, 1985, and on Sunday main event, this would be the first time that we would see Hogan and Andre team up. And they were actually doing on this episode, they were tagged with the label The Dream Team. So we know Andre, eighth wonder of the world, uh, undefeated at that time. And then, of course, you had Hogan, American made, the world champion. And we pretty much know Hogan held that belt for a long time. Uh, Also, this was the time where rock and wrestling was at its peak. So if you remember on Saturday nights, I mean not Saturday nights, Saturday mornings, we had Hulk Hogan rock and roll and wrestling. So during the time you had Captain Lou involved with Hogan, Andre, they paired them up. You see Junkyard Dog, all these different individuals that were from that cartoon. So going back to the picture, as you can see, this was the time. The picture is based off of again another shot by Bud Lightyear. Uh, the picture is based off of the promo right before the match. So if you go back to this episode, Hogan Andre, where Mean Gene is interviewing Captain Lou, and Captain Lou cuts his promo, and then he goes to Hogan, and Hogan, Hogan typical promo, hyping it up, getting all hawkified and everything, and Andre kind of interjects and tell Hogan, "We have done enough talking. Let's go handle our business in the ring." And this was during the peak time when Hogan was feuding with the Heenan family. So this matchup was Hogan and Andre against Bundy and Big John Studd. And pretty much we already know, like, Hogan ended up uh I think it actually went to disqualification, actually. Because if you remember during those times with a lot of Saturday night's main event, a lot of their matches, there was never too many finishes in their matches. A lot of their stuff either went to disqualification, or there was some type of confusion or count out. Something happened. But Saturday night main event was meant to set the stage for, like I said, whatever upcoming feud was coming up or whatever big event was about to happen. So, like I said, Hogan and Andre will win this match, but Bundy and Stud pretty much kind of beat up on them, double teamed on, and that type of thing. Now it's March 1st, 1986, and around this time we are now coming up on WrestleMania. I think this will be WrestleMania 1. So pretty much Hogan is in the feud with Piper, and matter of fact, Piper and his cronies. So now during this time, Hogan has uh gotten Mr. T on his side. So it's Hogan and T, and Piper and Orton. So this is leading up to WrestleMania 1, and we all know that with WrestleMania 1, the main event was Hogan and Mr. T against Piper and Orton. Now, for those that don't know, behind the scenes, Piper really didn't care for Mr. T, because he didn't like the fact that this actor was coming over into their arena and trying to make a fool of them. So Piper legitimately had beef with Mr. T during that time, but they at the same time they kept it professional. So in this matchup, this was the boxing match between Mr. T and Bob Orton. And in the picture, as you can see, we're at the end of the match. And at the end of the match, pretty much Bob Orton kind of sucker punch Mr. T, and basically did, it's supposed to have been a boxing match. Orton hit him with a couple of wrestling moves, which ultimately caused a disqualification. But Piper proceeded to basically whip Mr. T during that time before Hogan would run in to save him, which now would eventually lead us up to their WrestleMania match, which happened in April. And our final match for this season is October 4th, 1986. And this was the World Heavyweight title match between Paul Orndorff, Mr. Wonderful, and Hulk Hogan. So, as you can see in the picture, we got Heenan bringing Mr. Wonderful out. Another great shot by Bud Lightyear. And the story that led up to this was, of course, Orndorff, who felt like he was what Hulk Hogan was currently is. So pretty much, Orndorff was trying to be a clone of Hogan, and it was that early feud of we best friends, and I'm jealous of you, and you're trying to be like me, you're trying to keep me down, blah blah blah. And Orndorff ended up turning on Hogan, joining the Heenan family, and he was actually the first one that Heenan basically felt like could defeat Hogan and become the world heavyweight champion. So this was actually their first match on uh, Saturday Night Main Event, which was for the world title. So they would eventually have another big match, which was the steel cage match, which we would cover the next go around. But with this one, this was actually a decent match. Orndorff pretty much went toe to toe with Hogan. Um, Considering the limited ability of Hogan, Orndorff being a great, a nice technical wrestler, it was a good even match. But of course, we know Hogan beats Orndorff, and then continues to jump on Bobby Heenan. But if you have a chance, I would say go back and check out this match to see what led up to their future match, which we, like I said, we will cover the next go around. So that concludes our first, I guess you want to say, episode of our Saturday Night Main Event flashback. And as always, stay tuned. We got a lot more. If you haven't checked out some of our other episodes, please feel free to check out those. We got Halloween Havoc. We have Monday Night Raw. So we definitely take a trip down to Monday Night Wars. We have a lot of figure photography. We have a lot of other content on our site that I think you will find interest in, and anybody who's into old school nostalgic wrestling, you will definitely find interest in that. If you haven't subscribed to our channel, please subscribe, as we have a lot more content coming. And stay tuned because, like I said, this is the first episode of our Saturday Night Main Event flashback. But if you know there was a lot of historic events that happened during Saturday Night Main Event that we are planning on covering. So in figure form. So definitely come back. Uh, we hope that you come back to check out the rest of our episodes. And until then, you guys stay blessed out there, stay safe, and we look forward to seeing you back with us.